Well, coming to you from the balmy Casper, Wyoming, right here up on the south end of the campus, and I had a little bit of things. I get a chance to visit with my in-class students a little bit more than you, and I know there's not a lot of interaction. I'm always interested to know what you guys think, but I read into something this week that. Um, it caused a little angst. It made me think back and maybe give better advice. I've been in a position where people uh, have seeked me out and asked advice of me, especially financial advice and things like that. So anyway, sometimes you got to just kind of look back and see maybe I haven't been giving the greatest advice. And I think most things have to be put into context. So I'll give you a little background, okay? My wife and I have been debt free for a long, long time, and I think that's probably, if you don't know it, it's one of the reasons I push this personal finance and the Dave Ramsey program. By the way, there's 5 or 6 nationally known programs that are very similar, give basically the same ideas. Mr. Ramsey has just marketed that thing and kind of put some window dressing on it and made it palatable to a lot of us. And for that, I'm thankful, by the way. But anyway, so those are the kind of things that we've been going over the last couple of weeks, and we just got done on a unit in debt. We're going to start talking about this week a unit with debt in business and how it can be handled and maybe how you can deal with it. Every person's situation is a little different. I think in general we can handle things very similarly and come out with good results or bad results, or make it a bigger mess if we do things that don't uphold our virtues. But anyway, just a long story short, my wife and I, again, we are debt free right now. We're dealing on a house here in Casper. We have our place up north, and it's completely paid off. And on our financial statements, looks like we're worth quite a bit. But humbly, I say that. Um, and we have a little bit of savings and thank God for this job and things like that. We've been able to accumulate that in the 30 years of business that we've experienced, and it's nothing that's been done overnight. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, we're going to need a loan in order to buy this house rather than rent for a bit longer. And we found a house that we wanted. We thought it was right for us. It's just below campus here, and some things that we want to do with our lives. We think that could be a part of how that could be accomplished. But we're going to need a loan for a few years. My goal is to have the thing paid off in a couple of years, with our income and that sort of thing. But and I thought, yeah, I was just at the bank the other day, and we've been, boy, there's a stack of paper they require when you go in and you ask for a loan. You're at their mercy, and the latest development has been that they checked our credit scores, and because we paid things off years ago. I actually I've got a credit score that's about 830 or 840, something like that, which if you don't know exactly what that is, that's a really high credit score because we haven't had much debt. We've shown that, we paid everything off a long time ago. Um, and the reason I have that score, I've come to find out, well, let me get into that. My wife, who was going to sign on the loan because we're husband and wife, we were one, um, doesn't have a credit score. She's she has been virtually invisible as far as debt goes. for a while anyway. And so they said they wouldn't make a loan to her even as a party. I mean, our assets, if they were to be sold, could pay this thing off. So a decision had to be made. And there could be some principles. I'd love to visit with you. I'd love to get your feedback to see what you think. And I've made some decisions, but then we'll see how they play out. Anyway, so the bank officer, even though, tried to give me somewhat of a lecture on the virtues of having debt and that sort of thing. I decided that we think in our prayers and everything else that this house is going to be something that can bless us and bless God and that sort of thing. So we're going to go ahead with it. I'm going to sign as the sole signer on the mortgage. Of course, my wife will be part of the title. And so if anything happens to me, then it just goes right to her. All those kinds of things are taken care of. But I wanted to visit with you a little bit. And some of you, you're a little older. I don't think anybody's as old as I am. But you have some wisdom and some years behind you. And maybe questioning some of the things that Dave Ramsey talks about. First of all, if I had called into the Dave Ramsey show, and I'm just assuming that some of you have listened to that, whether you're traveling, from here to there or something like that. Maybe you're a regular listener. Maybe you're just, you listen whenever you get a chance to, which I am actually still. I thought, well, what would Dave say if I had presented him with this predicament? And this is kind of the most angst that I'm having is I think if I'd asked him this question, I probably wouldn't have gotten the same answer that I've come and landed on, that we're going to go through with at this point. Probably would have heard, I don't go into debt. I wouldn't take a loan. And that's the only advice that I could give you, because I've heard Dave say that many, many times. It goes a little bit against my principles at this point. Maybe I need to soften, maybe I don't. Again, I'd love to hear from you. And what I'm about to say is that it might not be a bad idea to have a credit card. Okay, I said it. I say that hesitantly. I think the time has to be right. Okay, and maybe I'm justifying it, maybe in all reality. But my wife and I were in a position. I have a good income. We do. Sorry. Anyway, that was our janitor. He's the main man here, and anyway, great guy. I have some great visits with him. Anyway, we do have a good situation. I'm hopeful. I prayed about it. I think that I've been answered, and we're going to go ahead with the mortgage. And but this advice also, when you're in a position, when you have learned with skill to navigate this world, as far as finances and debt goes, I think you probably need a credit card. The one reason that I do have a credit score right now is because I never used it, but I kept my Cabela's card. Now, a lot of you guys out there can relate to this. Okay, I didn't really do it for any particular reason. If I'd had the chance or thought about it, I'd probably cut it up with the rest of them. I just happened to have it. And And so the reason that I have a credit score and able to to sign on this mortgage so that we can have this house and best case scenario pay it off in a couple of years is because of that. We were ready. And again, tell me what you think. I have a little trepidation about all this little bit of advice. If you don't have a job, I'm going to say absolutely not. Cut up your credit cards if you have them. Don't get another credit card if you don't. Stay out of debt. If you have a job and your finances are a mess, don't get a credit card. It's just too easy to fall into that trap. It's like giving a guy in a hole a shovel. He's not going to dig himself out. You're not going to be able to consolidate your debt and get out. You're not. All these fixes that the world says will make you better will not. If you're in any one of those situations, if it puts your lifestyle, if it puts your family, if it puts people around you at risk, if it puts your job at risk, do not get a credit card. I haven't changed that mantra at all. If you get at a point in your life where you have the 6 to 12 months worth of emergency fund, if you have some savings, if you have your student loans paid off, if all those things are lined up, get a credit card. Get a credit card that has a low limit. You can get a prepaid credit card, build up your credit score to a certain extent. Most of us won't have enough wherewithal in order to buy our house that we need to have in order to take care of our families, or buy that piece of property that we need to sustain our business without that sort of thing. Now there's some other things to think about in all of that. It's more complex than that. Anyway, that's my take on it. I'm probably going to post a little forum below this so that you can add your comments. And I really appreciate those of you that spend the extra time in this class. This personal finance that we've gone over in the last 3 weeks, some of you may not think that it will affect your life. It may not be. Many of you, if you're not, you should be saying, why are we talking about this? This is a farm and ranch management class. Well, yeah, I may be wrong. I may not. I sway towards the fact that, of all the people I've known in this somewhat longer life than most of yours, have been that they've gained wisdom, and those that have led a life of less debt, and more savings, living beneath your means, being virtuous, those kinds of things are what we're called to do. And life is not easy even when we don't make a bigger mess of it. So I'm going to leave you at that. And I look forward to your comments and discussion on all this. And I appreciate the fact that many of you spend some time, and some are older, some have a little more experience than others, and you can add to the discussion. We were all wet behind the ears, as my dad used to say at one point. So good luck. I love talking about this stuff. If you guys find yourself in maybe a corner of life, or just want to talk about it, I love taking calls. You guys on the online version of this class are near and dear to me. You're leading lives that I've led, that I can relate to. I just happen to be holed up at a little college campus now. But I was out there in that world for a long, long time. And so I can relate to it just one-on-one. Anyway, I really enjoy the fact that every once in a while, one of you will call me up and we'll just visit about things. This is about life and living. And All glory to Him. Okay, we'll see you